Imagine you're standing in a house you once lived in, a place where the walls never felt quite safe. Each creak of the floorboards felt like a warning. Each door had the possibility of sudden chaos. And so you learned how to survive by shrinking, staying quiet, watching every movement with sharp focus, ready to defend yourself. What if you could build a new home now? One that feels soft and warm. A home that listens when you speak. Where the walls hold you gently and every room whispers, you belong here. You're safe now. It's okay to breathe. Emotional safety begins the moment that you realize that your true home isn't outside of you, it's within you. You're the one who creates this sanctuary, and it starts with one simple promise. I'll not abandon myself again. Begin to wrap yourself in words you needed to hear back then. It's okay to feel what you feel. You're not wrong for being sensitive, for needing space, for having boundaries. I'll protect you now. No one will take that away again. Feel what it's like to make that promise to yourself. Feel the ground steady beneath your feet. Feel your breath deepen, knowing you no longer have to be on high alert. The danger is past. The only thing left to do now is to soothe, comfort and rebuild. And with every small act of kindness towards yourself, every moment of rest, every boundary you set, you're reinforcing that safety, brick by brick, until the walls of your inner home stand strong and unshakable. Self-trust is like planting seeds in a garden that's been neglected for a long time. At first it feels strange, uncertain, like nothing will ever grow. But slowly, steadily, you begin to see sprouts. Little green shoots to remind you can trust yourself again. For so long, you may have relied on others to define you, to tell you who you should be or how you should feel. But here's the truth. You already know deep down. There's a part of you that's always known. It's the part that helped you survive. The part that whispered, "This isn't right, get out." The part that stayed awake at night dreaming of freedom, even when it seemed impossible. And now it's time to listen to that voice again, louder than ever. Here's a little practice. Every time you make a decision, big or small, ask yourself, what feels true to me? What feels kind? What feels like home? And then trust the answer, even if it's quiet, even if it's not what others expect. With each decision, you'll notice something miraculous. You begin to trust yourself more and more. And that trust grows roots, grounding you, becoming the unshakable foundation you've always needed. For too long, joy felt dangerous, like something that could be snatched away at any moment. So you learned not to chase it, not to hope too much, because the disappointment felt unbearable. What if joy wasn't something fleeting at all? What if joy is like sunlight? It's always there, even behind the clouds. And just like sunlight, joy doesn't ask for permission to exist. It's already here, waiting for you to notice it. You don't have to earn joy. You don't have to prove you deserve it. You were born with the right to feel joy, to play, to create, to laugh without looking over your shoulder. And creativity, it's not about being perfect. It's about giving yourself permission to explore, to try things for no other reason than because it feels good. Think back to when you were a child, before the world told you who you were supposed to be. What did you love? What made you light up? Was it drawing, singing, building things, telling stories? There's no pressure to be good at it now. The only rule is to follow what feels fun. Dance in your living room, paint with colours you never used before, make up silly songs and sing them to yourself. Play for the sake of play. Every time you choose joy, even in the smallest way, you're breaking the old patterns that told you happiness was fleeting. You're proving, over and over, that joy, it isn't something that can be taken from you. It's something you carry inside. And the more you cultivate it, the more you realise joy doesn't disappear, it expands. It grows roots and it blossoms. It becomes the very fabric of who you are. Bring it all together. Emotional safety gives you the foundation. Self-trust gives you the strength. Joy and creativity to give you wings. And every time you return to these practices, you're weaving new beliefs into your very being. I'm safe within myself. I can trust myself again. Joy is my birthright. You're no longer the victim of old stories. You're the author now, the artist, the creator of a life that's filled with joy, freedom and lightness. And as you move forward one step at a time, you'll find everything you thought was lost was just waiting for you to come back and to claim it. Because for so long, your emotional body, it was like a shut down room in a house, locked, dark and silent. Not because you didn't care, but because feeling was dangerous. It felt like the world would collapse if you let yourself feel too much. So you learned to live in your mind, retreating into logic, creating safety through control, trying to think your way out of pain. But the heart doesn't need to be controlled, it needs to be held. The body doesn't want to be ignored, it wants to be heard. Imagine for a moment, your emotions are messengers, not threats. What if each one, even the hard ones, just wanted to tell you something important? Not to hurt you, but to help you heal. Let's invite these emotions to speak, one by one, knowing they can't hurt you now. Here's a gentle practice. Close your eyes and imagine standing in front of that locked room in your heart. Notice the door. It's been locked for so long, but now you're ready to turn the key. Open the door slowly and walk in. You'll notice shadows, old pain, fragments of old memories. But stay grounded, breathe. This is your space. You're in control now. Ask yourself, what do I feel right now? Anger, sadness, fear? Whatever comes up, allow it to rise, like a wave that crests and falls. Now imagine holding that emotion in your hands, like a small child who's been crying for years. You don't have to fix it, just hold it. Whisper, I see you, I hear you. It's okay now. You're safe with me. The more you do this, the more your emotional body begins to trust you again. It realizes it doesn't need to scream to get your attention. It can simply speak, and you'll listen. Anger and pain, they're not your enemies. They're energies stuck, frozen in time, waiting for release. For years you've carried this weight, like a heavy backpack filled with rocks. Some of those rocks belong to people who never apologized, who hurt you and walked away without a second thought. And you've been waiting unconsciously for them to come back and remove the rocks they left behind. But here's the truth. You don't have to wait anymore. You can put the backpack down. You can release it piece by piece, rock by rock, without their permission, without their acknowledgement. Here's how. You can write a letter to each person who hurt you. See everything you never got to say. Pour it all out, every ounce of anger, betrayal and sadness. Don't hold back. Then burn the letter or tear it up. As you watch the ashes rise or the pieces fall away, say, I release you. I release this weight. You no longer have power over me. This isn't about forgiving them for the sake. It's about freeing yourself. The moment you let go of that weight, you create space for joy, lightness, and peace to enter. Self-forgiveness feels impossible when you're trapped in the belief that your mistakes define you. But what if your mistakes weren't a sign of failure, but lessons that shaped your growth? What if every impulsive act, every moment of repression, followed by an outburst, was simply the natural reaction of a heart that had been caged for far too long? Imagine that child version of you again, the one who was hurt, silenced, shamed. Would you judge that child for reacting out of pain? No. You'd wrap that child in love and say, I understand you did the best you could with what you knew. Now say that to yourself. I forgive you for what you didn't know at the time. I forgive you for reacting in ways that were only trying to protect you. I forgive you for carrying the weight of others' mistakes and making it your own. Every time you offer yourself forgiveness, you're peeling back another layer of shame, allowing your true self to breathe again. Joy and wholeness, they're not destinations. They're states of being. They're always available to you. Once you realize you're no longer broken, you never were. You've been whole all along. The pieces that felt shattered, they're just waiting for you to gather them back together. Think of yourself as a mosaic. Every experience, every heartbreak, every triumph, every mistake is a piece of your art. Some pieces are dark, some are bright, but together they form something breathtaking. Joy comes naturally when you stop trying to be perfect and you start embracing your beautiful messiness. Creativity flows when you let go of needing it to be good and simply let it be true. Here's some practices that you can use to anchor the joy and creativity into your life. You can write down 3 small moments of joy each day. Not big things, but little sparks. Sunlight on your face, a kind word from a stranger, a song that made you smile. Do something playful with no agenda. Dance, doodle, make silly faces in the mirror. Every time you catch yourself being harsh, pause and replace it with a kind word. You're doing great. You're learning. Keep going. And the more you do this, the more joy becomes your natural state. Not something fleeting, but something steady and strong, like a river running through you. Because freedom, it isn't something you have to wait for. It's not out there. It's right here inside you. Every time you choose to breathe, release, forgive and play, you're stepping deeper into that freedom. And the best part, it's not fleeting. It doesn't fade. The more you embrace it, the more it grows, until one day you look back and you realize you've been free all along. Because you've been carrying a weight that wasn't yours to bear. Like a heavy coat handed to you in childhood. You wore it because you thought you'd no choice. The coat, woven from threads of others, cruelty, gaslighting and invalidation, became so familiar that you stopped noticing it, but now you realize you've outgrown it. So imagine yourself standing in front of a mirror, seeing that coat for what it is. It's not you, it never was. And now imagine unbuttoning it, one clasp at a time. With each release, you let go of the old stories tied to it. I'm not good enough, unbutton. I don't deserve love, unbutton. My voice doesn't matter, unbutton. Feel that coat sliding off your shoulders, falling to the floor. Notice how light you feel without it. And as you look at yourself in the mirror, see who you are beneath it all. Someone strong, radiant, deserving of love, joy and freedom. The weight has gone because you no longer need to carry it. Anger is often misunderstood. You may have been told it was wrong to feel angry, but here's the truth. Anger is a sign that something matters to you. It's the voice of a boundary that was crossed. And when you honour that anger, it transforms into power. Picture your anger as a fire burning inside you. For years it felt out of control, like it might consume you, but now you realise you're the one who controls the flame. Close your eyes and imagine holding a lantern in your hands. This lantern is your anger, contained and steady. It's no longer wild, it's a tool, and you can use it as a light to illuminate the truth. I deserve better, and now I'll give myself better. What happened to me wasn't okay, but I'll no longer let it define me. I have the power to protect myself, to heal, and to create a life I love. Feel how empowering it is to channel your anger into boundaries, in self-respect into anger. Let it fuel your growth instead of holding you back. Forgiveness is often misunderstood too. It's not about excusing what happened or pretending it didn't hurt. It's about freeing yourself from the chains of the past. Think of forgiveness as a gift, not for them, but for you. Close your eyes and picture the people who hurt you. Imagine they're standing far away, on the other side of a bridge. You don't need to cross that bridge. You don't need to meet them halfway. But you need to let go of the rope tying you to them. Now imagine holding that rope in your hands. Feel the tension in it. The way it keeps you connected to the pain. Take a deep breath and say, I release you. You no longer have power over me. I choose my freedom. And as you drop that rope, the tension leaves your body. Feel the space it creates. Space for joy, for love, for peace. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means reclaiming your energy, your time, your life. You've carried guilt like a shadow, haven't you? For acting out, for making mistakes, for feeling like you should have done better. But what if you could forgive yourself? the way you'd forgive a child. Imagine yourself as a little child, standing in front of you. See the sadness in their eyes, the fear, the confusion. What will you say to them? Would you scold them? Would you kneel down, open your arms and say, "I'm so sorry you had to go through this. It's okay. I love you no matter what. You're not bad. You were just trying to survive." Now picture that child running into your arms. Hold them close. Feel the warmth, the connection, the unconditional love. And as you do, say to yourself, "I forgive myself. I was doing the best I could with what I knew at the time. I release the guilt. I choose compassion." Let this self-forgiveness ripple through every part of you, healing the places that felt broken. Joy isn't something you have to chase. It's something you allow. And the more present you are, the more joy you notice. So here's a simple practice. Pause right now and look around you. Find one small thing that brings you delight. A ray of sunlight, the sound of birds, the texture of your clothing. Breathe in, let yourself feel it fully, and say to yourself, "This moment is enough. I'm enough." And the more you practice this, the more you realize joy isn't fleeting. It's always here, just waiting for you to notice it. The fear of judgment can feel like a cage, but here's the truth. Most people are too busy with their own lives to truly judge you. And even if they do, their opinion is not your truth. Imagine yourself standing in a courtroom where you've been the defendant for far too long. But this time, you're not waiting for others to pass the verdict. You stand tall, look the judge in the eye and say, "I no longer need your approval. I'm enough just as I am. I set myself free." Feel the relief as you walk out of that courtroom, leaving their judgments behind. You don't need their forgiveness or their understanding. You only need your own. Freedom isn't a destination. It's a state of being. It's choosing, moment by moment, to let go of the stories that no longer serve you. And play is your birthright. It's how you reconnect with your inner child. How you remind yourself that life, it isn't just about survival. It's about joy, love, and creativity. So give yourself permission to play. Dance in your kitchen. Laugh at silly jokes. Try something new. Just because it excites you. And every time you play, you're reclaiming a piece of yourself that was hidden away. Let these beliefs sink deep into your unconscious mind, becoming the foundation of your new life. I'm safe within myself. I'm worthy of love, joy, and freedom. I forgive myself completely. I choose to release the past and create my own future. I trust myself to handle whatever comes my way. Repeat these often, letting them guide you into the life that you've always deserved.